Greetings. I made it. I'm home with my best buddy, Cash. How you doing? I think he missed me. Anyway, I made it, and this video is going to cover the last parts of the ride, the Allegheny Gap Trail, the C&O Canal, and then south out of Washington, D.C. So it'll cover Pennsylvania, West Virginia, Maryland, Virginia, D.C. Yeah, a lot of states, small area. Anyway, that's what this video is going to be all about. And then the next one will be a summary of the whole trip. I'm going to add up all my mileages and that sort of stuff and talk about the general whole experience and that sort of thing. Yet, he loves to hold hands. I'm going to talk about that in the next video, the whole trip. And then after that, I'm going to do a series of review videos where I review the camping equipment, the pieces of my bicycle, the places I stayed, the various trails, lots and lots of reviews. And I've got more pictures that you haven't seen than you have, and videos. So there's going to be a lot of that. Yeah, and I think I could also probably use a shave. I think it's time. Never been this hairy before. Anyway, that's it. Here comes the summary of the Allegheny Gap and the C&O Canal and south of Washington. So Friday morning started out foggy coming out of Confluence, but the fog quickly burned away to some really beautiful views of the river down below. Gorgeous ride. Now this is a real blooper reel. Imagine the Benny Hill theme song in the background. I'm all upside down and screwed up, but it was kind of crazy trying to capture some tunnels and bridges and stuff, but just ignore that, okay? Here's a brief check-in on, what is this, Friday morning, I think? I'm not sure. Anyway, I'm about 7 miles out of Confluence on the way to Cumberland. I thought today was going to be a rain out, and I was making contingency plans about trying to cancel my hotel for tonight and all that kind of stuff, but as of now, it looks like it's going to be a pretty clear day, at least until I get to Cumberland 50 miles from now, or 53 miles from now, or whatever. Just went across a bridge, a tunnel and a bridge. That was kind of cool. Oh, it looks like another tunnel coming up. The weather has been incredible. It is the middle of July, and right now it's like 62 degrees here. And I watch people doing these rides talking about how it's 95, 100 degrees. They're stopping to stick their heads under faucets and stuff. It's lovely. It's cool. I'm sweating a little bit because I've got layers on in July. Oh my gosh. So anyway, amazing weather continues. I've gone all the way across the country, and while on my bike, I had one morning when I was rained out and stuck in my tent for a few hours. But even then, it cleared up in the afternoon and I got a ride in. So here's hoping my luck holds. Tomorrow, I should be starting the C&O Canal Trail, and that's supposed to be really muddy, sloppy, if it's wet at all. And it did rain last night. There's puddles along this trail, but this trail is so firm that it's still awesome to ride on. So anyway, that's the latest. Onward to Cumberland. I've just got to say it again. Oops, get straight. Here we go, straight. Okay. I've just got to say it again. I cannot get enough of riding through these woods on this awesome surface in Pennsylvania. I'll be crossing into Maryland pretty soon, I think. I'm not sure when. But I'm 9 miles out of Confluence, and a lot of crap on the trail from the thunderstorm last night. I had to move a little bit of log out of the way, but hey, a scout is helpful, you know? Just loving riding through these woods. So beautiful. Onward. Hello again. Still on the Great Allegheny Passage Trail, still about 50 miles from Cumberland, where I'll spend the night and then get on the C&O. Just wanted to mention that one of the coolest things about Ohio and Pennsylvania, and I know I've been really critical about campsites and that kind of stuff, but in addition to awesome surfaces, the fact that I've been along rivers almost the entire way has been just awesome. Starting with the Ohio River in Cincinnati, which pretty quickly transitioned over to the Little Miami River, which took me most of the way to Columbus, where I saw the Scioto and the Olentangy, and then I jumped over to Pittsburgh, where I started my ride at the Point Park or whatever it is, where I think it's the Monongahela, the Allegheny come together to form the Ohio, I think, but I'm not sure. Anyway, then I rode up the Monongahela for a long time. Then that transitioned to the Yogaio, whatever the one with the Y is. And I'm not even sure what river this is that I'm riding alongside right now on the way to Cumberland. But I've been along it at least since Confluence. And I don't know how long it's going to go, but just beautiful rivers all the way along Ohio and Pennsylvania. Maybe that's part of the reason that it hasn't been hot at all in the middle of July, and it's quite cool right now. I keep looking over to my left at the beautiful white water. It's just so cool. Anyway, Ohio and Pennsylvania rivers. Oh, let me be quiet. See if you can hear the river. Can you hear the white water? All right, see ya. I am enjoying Pennsylvania so much. And I think one of the reasons is that I'm back in Appalachia, and that's where I grew up. Till I was 14 years old, I lived just east of Asheville, North Carolina, in mountains very much like these. And this just feels like home, like comfort food. And that's one of the reasons I'm enjoying this trip so much through Pennsylvania. And the path itself is just so smooth and dry, even though it thunderstormed last night. Just loving Pennsylvania. Up, here comes a train. Can you hear it? I didn't think that was coming. All right, loving Pennsylvania. Then came the Continental Divide, and as you can see from the image on the right, it was all downhill from there. Well, including the Big Savage Tunnel, which was more than a half-mile long. Wow. The Big Savage Mountain Tunnel. I can see the other side. Oh, I need to turn on the light. Hang on, turn on the headlight. Headlight on. Look at Big Savage Tunnel. Ooh, there's doors. The doors are open. Took off my sunglasses. Okay. So to aim my light up. Oh, there are lights in here. Okay. Let's not go too fast. I can't really see. Whoa, this is spooky. I'm not going very straight because my light's not shining very far ahead. Hello? Not much of an echo. Wow, I can coast. This is downhill. Oh, I can almost coast. Okay. I hope I'm recording. I think I stepped to push the button. I'm not going back. Wow. I think there aren't 10 people coming the other direction. So much less spooky than crossing a bridge. Damn, this is far. Wow. Thank goodness I don't have to walk around this one like I'm going to have to walk around the Towpath town. And my eyes are getting adjusted. I can actually see a little bit. Yeah. Man. It's a long tunnel. I should have set this for time lapse. This is going to be too long to put on the YouTube channel. I just want to use it there yet. Wow. This is a long tunnel. It's a half a mile. Actually 3,300 feet. More than half a mile. I love that downhill. I love everything that gets down. This would be a cool place to ride out the thunderstorm that it looks like it might be coming. Not touch me down here. Under the big Savage Mountain. Not the sort of tunnel can make, especially with the technology of the day. I don't see any drainage in here, so it must just flow downhill with the tilt of the tunnel itself. Yeah, I'm definitely coasting downhill. This is a long tunnel. Holy crap. There's been an eventful morning. Bridges and continental divide, and I think I may be crossing into West Virginia right now. People say welcome to West Virginia on the other side. Wild, wonderful West Virginia. Actually, the end of it. Oh, now the lights are out for dimmer. My headlight is working. Okay. Does not look cloudy on the other side. A big Savage Mountain. All right. Ta-da. Wow, the view over to the left is pretty spectacular. Let's see if I can show you that in one take. After the gorgeous view at the end of the Big Savage Tunnel, I was right around the corner from the Mason-Dixon line, and from there it was a pretty amazing 25 miles of downhill coasting into Cumberland, Maryland, where I checked into the Cumberland Hotel and Spa, which was in a kind of sketchy part of town, but once I was inside, it was really lovely. The lady that was in charge of it was great, and they were really set up to take care of cyclists. Then came Saturday and the C&O Towpath. This was a long 9-hour day, including the Pawpaw Tunnel bypass, and it started with mud, and there was a lot of it all day long. Good morning from the C&O Canal, the Chesapeake and Ohio Towpath, about 8 miles outside of Cumberland, Maryland, on the way to Hancock, about 60 miles, a third of the way from here to Washington, D.C., which is about 180 miles. Saturday morning, it's in the low 60s, low humidity, sunny day. Wow, the weather continues to be just astounding. Those of you who know me know that I really appreciate a pristine, clean bike. It just makes me feel so good to be riding a clean bicycle. And a couple of notes from what I've learned already this morning. If you're cruising along and hit fairly deep mud, it just sucks all the momentum right out of you, so you better keep pedaling or you will fall over. I haven't fallen completely over yet. You can't tell how deep a puddle is from the surface, and some of them are surprisingly deep and will really kind of jar you. It's kind of tricky to ride on a narrow single path lane. I haven't got much practice with that, but I think I will by the end of today. So that's the beginning of the C&O Towpath. Wish me luck. I've just come upon my first lock. Of course, there will be many, many more, but there's a lock, and I guess the lock keeper's house kind of thing. Anyway, rolling. I thought it would be at least slightly moving water, but nope, it's pretty darn stagnant. Ugh. Anyway, onward. Sorry, I'm having a snack. I just did about 25 miles from Cumberland to the Pawpaw Tunnel. And can you read this? 1.5 miles of steep and strenuous trail, and then 0.6 down. I just had a snack. This is all hike-a-bike, by the way. Serious hike-a-bike. Got plenty of water. On the other side, 35 more miles to Hancock. So this will be the most extreme hike-a-bike I've ever done. Here we go. This is as good a place as any to talk a little bit about the hiker-biker campsites along the C&O Canal. These are primitive affairs. There is a porta potty, which is usually clean and well maintained. There's a flat spot for pitching tents. That's great. Of course, there's no electricity and there's no water. Most of them had a pump, which if you leaned on it for a few minutes, you would get some brown water to start coming out. And if you leaned on it for several more minutes, the water would start to get clear. But there were signs saying that the water was not potable and you should boil it or disinfect it before using it. So I did not use any of the water at these hiker-biker campsites, and that resulted in the need for some of the tour magic that I'll be talking about shortly. It's a beautiful day to be out on the North Fork of the Potomac River. I've seen quite a few people in kayaks, tubes, canoes. Just a great Saturday to be out on the water. Wish I was down there. So this Saturday was a tough day. My kickstand started clicking. My suspension seat post had a pin come out, which meant my seat was kind of flopping around. I had to stop several times to grab a stick and pry the mud out from between my fender and my tire. And just riding through the mud and climbing the Pawpaw Mountain were all tiring. So by the end of that day, I was beat. I was coming pretty close to Hancock when I stopped to pry the mud out from under my fender again, when I came across this cooler by the side of the trail with really ice cold water, 2 for $1 or $1 each. So I got 2, gave them $5, and that I was out of water by then. That got me the rest of the way to Hancock. That was some tour magic. And then just a couple miles after that, the rest of the way into Hancock was paved. So that was cool. Made it into Hancock, went to a little bike shop right there at the trail. I think it was called the C&O Bicycle Shop or something like that. I'll say what it really was right there. Those people were great. They helped me find a couple of replacement things from the pannier that had been lost a few days ago. They fixed my kickstand and my seat post for free. They let me spray off my bike out back and get all that mud out from under the fenders and stuff. Just awesome. And while I was there, I had a nice dinner in Hancock, went up to my hotel, and that was the end of a tough Saturday. The next day, Sunday, also kind of eventful. Okay, Sunday. Sunday started off pretty nice. There was a paved path leading out of Hancock. That was cool. I passed several really picturesque dams, and there were lots of people there doing their Sunday thing, fishing and boating and stuff. I think it was around Dam 4 that I had a kind of emotional moment that that was deep enough that there were a lot of people out there in power boats, water skiing, tubing, jumping off the bow, just swimming around the Potomac River. And I had done that for 25 years before I was married for a few years. Then after I was married, raising my boys, we were out there on the Potomac River every weekend. And this brought back just a flood of such amazing memories. And I was a little verklempt there by the side of the trail. Yeah, that was emotional. But I was determined to make this an easy day. I'd had my butt kicked the day before by those tough 60 miles. I was just going to do 30 miles. And so I got to the 30-mile point, started looking for a campsite with cell coverage, because I'd been hearing that there was going to be rain that night and the next day, thunderstorms, and I wanted to be able to keep track of that rain if I'm sleeping in a tent. So I wanted to make sure there was cell coverage. So at 30, I started looking. 35, nah, that one didn't have cell coverage. 38 didn't have cell coverage. Pretty soon it was 45 miles, still no cell coverage. I'm getting tired. It's 50 miles and there's still no cell coverage at the campsites. Screw it. I'm going to bike all the way to Harpers Ferry. So it was another 60-mile day. Oh my gosh, I was tired by the end of that. And when I got to Harpers Ferry, I'm on the C&O Towpath. The Appalachian Trail goes right by here. That was cool. Um, but I can't figure out how to get over to Harpers Ferry. So I look at the maps, I look at my tour guide, I ask some people. There's only one way to get from the C&O Canal Towpath over to Harpers Ferry, and that is to go up several flights of steel stairs up to this railroad trestle going into town, out of a tunnel and into the town. And I've got this 80-pound bike, so I take off the panniers, I tie them, lock them to a tree. Now I'm trying to get my bike up these steel stairs, and I'm not making much progress. This lovely woman comes along. Can I help? Please, yes. So she took the rear end of the bike. I took the front end of the bike. We finally got it to the top of those stairs. I left it there, went back down, unlocked my panniers, carried them up, locked them onto the bike, headed on over into Harpers Ferry. It was about, I don't know, a mile up to the Quality Inn where I spent the night. I went into town. Man, Harpers Ferry, it's got to be the hilliest town on the planet. Climbed the hills up to the restaurant and had a nice dinner, then back down to the hotel. The next day, Monday, it did rain a lot. And so I just said, screw it. I just had 2 really tough 60-mile days. I'm going to crash here for an extra day in the Quality Inn. And I did. I spent Monday there in the Quality Inn and did some bike maintenance, you know, tires, chain, that kind of stuff. All good. Still haven't had a flat tire the whole ride. Oh my gosh. And that takes us to Tuesday. And I'm going to stop this video here. This has been a long video already, and enough happened Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday that's worthy of a video of its own. So I'm going to stop here. This is the end of Cumberland, wherever, to Harpers Ferry, the first half of week 7. And the second half will be coming up shortly. Thanks for watching. Like and subscribe if you like these, and hope you have a great day. Thanks.